please don't put that in there. You got me. You put in there that I was drinking my sweet tea.
So and
I went like that. I went like this.
Every time you say please don't put that in there, it's a really good cue that I should put that in there. Well, hello, Auburn Alliance Church family. Here we are at another 5 to 5, and today we want to tell you a little bit about Delta Lake Bible Conference Center and invite you to come to family camp this year. We realize that some of you might be new to church, or some of you might have been part of church for a long time and have absolutely no idea what we're talking about when we mention Delta Lake or when we talk about family camp. And we want to give you some information about it and an invitation for you to be part of what's going on at Delta Lake this summer. So if we're talking to somebody who's never been to Delta, Mark, what would you say family camp is like?
Well, first thing that I would say is a time of getting away. It's intentionally getting away to spend time with God, spend time with God's people, and to have take away the distractions of everyday life so that you could be more available to hear what God has to say.
Yeah.
And so that's how the camp has that idea or that mandate that has always guided it for almost 100 years. And so what they do is they set up different ministries and programs and services all for the whole family to come there and to experience a deeper spiritual renewal and, in a way, a retreat at the same time.
Yeah, so in the morning there's Bible studies and a morning speaker for adults. There's things for children. There's things for teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like from 9 in the morning until noon, we have structure where there's like a vacation Bible school and fun things going on for different age groups. Mm-hmm. And then after lunch, there's just activities for the rest of the day. There might be like a softball game, or there might be a water balloon fight, or there might be times that there's a volleyball tournament, there's a golf tournament. That's part of what we do at Delta.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of busyness, things going on all over the campground. And then in the evening, after dinner, there's another time for a service. It's kind of like an evening service where there's worship and there's a speaker.
Yep.
And then they have another kids program that takes place. And I think this year the teenagers are all with the adults in the evening service. Right. But we have outstanding worship and outstanding speakers. Mm-hmm. And it's a great opportunity to go there for spiritual renewal, to go there for quiet times apart from God. There's plenty of things to do that are like relaxing and fun. And you're there with hundreds of other people who are mostly from Alliance churches, but not all from Alliance churches. And you get people there from all over the state, and there's people there from all over the country. And then every once in a while you run into somebody who's a international worker who's there at Delta Lake for the week, and you get to meet people from all over the world. Mm-hmm. So it's a really amazing opportunity to be able to be at a place where there's structured events and then plenty of activities, and the actual facility itself, the campground, has lots of stuff to offer. Mm-hmm. There's a main meeting center. It's called the Tab. It's like an outdoor worship area.
Mm-hmm. And so Tab is short for tabernacle. And so that's the main tabernacle.
How old is that building?
Oh, it's at least 80 years old.
Yeah, it's an old thing, and it's kind of cool because the sides open up.
Yeah,
you kind of pin them up so it can be open air. Right. And it's a beautiful building.
Yeah,
it's really amazing.
And then there's another tab. It's called the Youth Tabernacle, and that's where you're going to be speaking.
Yeah, I'll be speaking there to teenagers in the mornings.
And that's actually closer to where most of us Auburn people are staying in our chalets or camping out.
Yeah.
And it's just a great place. So there's housing is available through a lodge. They're called the Main Lodge, or you can rent a chalet, which is basically a
small cabin.
A cabin, or as some individuals in our fellowship call it, a souped-up shed. And
a shed with bunks.
A shed with bunks. And then you can camp. And, and that's, and then there's also a dining hall if you need to get food. Now, a lot of our folks bring their own food, and so we camp out and we have a bonfire, and that's usually the thing that becomes the highlight for a lot of our people from Auburn. We get together around the bonfire at night and tell stories and just roast marshmallows.
Just have life together, yeah.
Just have life, and it's lots of fun together. Really is.
Yeah, and there's plenty of activities, places. There's a gymnasium, there's a ball field, there's a playground for kids to be there. And one of the best things about Delta Lake is there's a lake. So at the lake, there's a waterfront.
Right.
And you can go swimming, or you could go kayaking and canoeing. They have a pontoon boat you can go out for a ride on, and they have a really good water skiing boat there too. So you can go tubing or water skiing, that kind of stuff.
Canoeing. I think there's some that big board that you can stand on.
Yeah,
and
paddleboard.
Paddleboard.
I have some of those this year.
And I know that there's a whole bunch of people that like to go fishing. And they, of course, they bring their equipment for that, and they can fish. And I actually know some that take the canoe out and go fishing from the canoe, which is pretty cool. So
there's a lot of those kinds of things. It's not just about going there for Bible study, but it's a very quiet, peaceful place, and you can do those kinds of activities. And then there's group activities where there'll be an ultimate frisbee game or a softball game, or we'll play crazy contests like have a water balloon fight or face painting contests, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And July 4th every year they have a bike parade where all the kids that brought their bikes to camp, they put streamers on them and decorate them, and then they ride them around Simpson Circle a couple of times while everybody cheers them on. It's just kind of fun, kind of place to be.
So this year it's really interesting. I was looking through the schedule, and on July the 3rd, which is Saturday, that's a whole day of a music festival. And then they're going to be bringing in these food trucks, and then there's going to be games, and it's going to be a festive time. And then at night, there is going to be a concert, a Christian contemporary artist that's going to be coming in. It's going to be singing and entertaining and also giving us a chance to worship with his talent and skill. And so Saturday is supposed to be packed, packed out of things, people and things to do. And then Sunday, 4th of July, and typically a lot of our folks that come up for a day usually come up on Sunday. And so we'd love to see you. Please come and say hello to us. If you can see us, we can talk and just see how you're doing, and also to hear how it's going for you and with being at Delta maybe for the first time. So
some people come to Delta and they come for the whole week. Some people come for a few days. And if you've never been to Delta, I really encourage you to come for Delta for one day. Just find a day where you have opportunity to come, and come like 9 o'clock in the morning and plan to stay all the way through the evening service, which will end about 9 o'clock at night. It's only about an hour and a half away from Auburn. So it's going to be a full day for you to do that. But if you've never been to Delta before, it would be a really good thing for you and your family to be able to come just for one day. Just come check it out. And I guarantee you that if you come for one day, next year you're going to come for a few days, or if not the whole week. I remember way back when we heard about Delta as a family, and we're like, we need to come check this out. And we came to Delta for a couple days, and we just fell in love with Delta Lake. Fell in love with the program that's there, fell in love with the people that are there. And I'm looking forward to being at family camp this year and seeing people that I first met in the mid-90s, and you just sit down and have a conversation with them, catch up with them, and it's just kind of like you just haven't seen them in a few days, and you're just catching up. It's pretty cool.
It is. It's pretty neat. I'll tell you one, really, it was really enriching for me personally, actually for Becky and I both. We were at our camp. We have a pop-up camper that we have our stuff all set up, and this older couple that have a cottage there, and they're pretty well known, and they were part of the prayer team that prays during the week through family camp, praying God's protection upon people and children and families, and praying that God's Spirit would find the freedom to work within people's lives and to sort of create this dome of prayer and intercession. And this couple came to our campsite out of the blue without us asking and just said, "Can we pray over you?" And I was so moved by that personally, because they were older. They bridged that gap between us, and not that there was one. It's just I didn't anticipate that and didn't expect it, but man, it was such a blessing for Becky and I watched that happen for others.
Yeah.
And it's just you just never know. Maybe somebody will come up and just start praying for you, and you just don't know it. And that, not to freak you out, but that it really meant a lot to us personally. So.
Yeah, it's a holy place.
It is.
You're going to sense the Spirit of God when you go there.
Amen.
You're going to see people do those spiritual things, sitting and fellowshipping and praying with each other.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things about Delta is there'll just be spontaneous worship. Somebody will show up at the gazebo with a guitar, and you're sitting there for an hour just worshiping God. Mm-hmm. It's not part of the program. It's not part of the schedule. It just happens because it's such a spiritual place.
Yeah.
So if you have any questions about Delta, we would love to talk to you about it. Pastor Mark and Becky love Delta Lake, and we would love to be able to answer questions. Sandra and I love Delta. Mm-hmm. I had the privilege of working at Delta for 7 years as their summer program director, and family camp was one of my favorite weeks out of the entire year to see all that God was doing in people's hearts and lives through Delta Lake. So if you've never been part of Delta, would really, really love for you to come and see what God's doing at Delta Lake.